when you gotta do a bunch of takes of this shit, you be getting high as fuck. Welcome to LabTalk. So look, we're gonna chop things up a little different here. Going forward, I'm gonna break the Lab Talks down into 3 different segments. One segment is gonna cover a sports-related issue. One segment is gonna cover a music-related issue. And one segment is gonna cover a social-ish related issue. That way, you guys can skip through the parts that you wanna watch. And then also, it works better for other formats like TikTok and stuff like that. Because I'm trying to get active for, Green Tape is around the corner. I'm telling you, it's around the corner. Announcements are coming pretty soon. So, excuse me. The first topic is going to be D-Wade and him changing his daughter's legal name and gender. I know this is going to be a sensitive subject just because anything regarding that community is a sensitive subject. And I'm saying this respectfully. I'm not saying this to be an attack on that community. This ain't got nothing to really do with the community. It has something to do with age. I have kids that are within that age range, and I couldn't imagine understanding their age and maturity level at that point, them being at a point to be able to make a decision like that for themselves. That seems kind of early in the game. And the reason why I'm even speaking out about it, I'll get to in a minute. But I just feel like something as heavy as name and gender, changing that at that point, and that child being the driver of that decision, that's pretty heavy at that age. And the reason, getting back to the reason why I say I'm speaking out about it is because I don't know if that's necessarily a good example. I believe that if you're going to make a decision that's that heavy, you should be pretty well into adulthood and you should be pretty confirmed that that's who you are and that's what you want to do for the long haul. I'm not saying that her decision to show up in the world the way that she wants is a phase. What I am saying is that at that age, you're usually never who you are at 30 years old. You're usually never who you are at 40 years old. That usually is never the case where you are the same person you are at 15 as you are at 20, as you are at 25, and so forth and so on. So that's all I'm saying. I think that's just a premature decision. And I don't think that's a decision that a lot of people should model. I think a lot of people should model a decision in which it allows the child to grow into an adult and make that decision later in life. So the social-ish issue that I want to talk about is AI. And I kind of want to give a projection on how I see this affecting people in the real world, because I don't think people understand the power of AI and how it can affect people. So there's a book that I want, or not a book, I'm sorry, or maybe, I'm not sure. I'm gonna double check if this movie was made from a book, because I think that it was. And if it was, I'm gonna put the link to both in the description. But there's a movie named Her. I think it came out in like 2012, 2013. I went to the movie theater to see it because the preview was just so interesting. And I'm into tech, if you guys don't know. I'm into tech like you have no clue. So we'll talk about that more in the future in Lab Talks, but excuse me. But this movie kind of depicted what I visioned the world to be in the future. And so when you see tools like ChatGPT come online, the first thing that you probably should be thinking about is if your job or your career, your future is going to be affected by this. I'm going to tell you straight up, in my industries, I'm absolutely going to be affected by this. And I think that you guys should start thinking in the future how you're going to transition to be valuable in the world above and beyond these tools. Because if you do any kinds of customer service, your job time is limited. If you do pretty much any service online where a person is in place of whatever that service is, that's going to be replaced. There's already a McDonald's in Texas that is operating with no people, or maybe it's like one manager or something like that, but very limited staff. These things are coming online faster than I think the economy and the way that the world regulates itself is going to be able to adjust to it. So I think that's a huge social issue that people really need to keep their eye on. The only politician I've ever heard speak on this was Andrew Yang. I don't know if you remember him, but he ran, I believe, in 2020, the Trump campaign or whatever, the Trump-Hillary campaign. And he was the only person talking about how artificial intelligence is going to change the world and how we need to start putting up safeguards in our economy for these types of things. So just start thinking about that in the future and think about how your future may be changed by one of these tools and whether or not your skill is going to be able to usurp what this tool is going to be able to do for that company. Because if you think that company is not going to replace your ass, you got some fantasies to run back. You feel me? The third topic is going to be about Chris Brown and Robert Glasper. So Chris Brown made a crazy comment saying, "Who the F is Robert Glasper?" And I find it really hard to think that Chris Brown does not know who Robert Glasper is. And if that's a real thing, there's a big problem with that. If he said it in jest, okay, but that's still a crazy statement given what Robert Glasper has contributed to music. But if you really don't know, that's a crime in itself. And I wish there was an explanation for that, because that's a crazy statement. On a positive note, to Robert Glasper, salute. I think that you are one of these underrated people that should be spoken of more. You should have way more mentions in the world in regard to what you've contributed to music. And I appreciate what you've contributed on a producer end or just on a music end, or as an, from an artist perspective too. And I'm proud of your moment of getting that trophy and standing on that stage. And I hope that, the next 20 or so years are better than the last. So salute to you. And yeah, that's LabTalk. I hope you guys like the new format and how I'm kind of throwing these out in different little skits, in different formats on different platforms. Please comment, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. Let me know what you think about these episodes, because I'm going to have them coming at y'all. And I appreciate your viewership and your listenership. Peace.